A passage of the Zhuangzi purports to describe Confucius seeing somebody fall into a raging torrent. The story goes like this. Confucius was sightseeing in Luliang, where the waterfall is 30 fathoms high, and the river races along for 40 miles, so fast that neither fish nor any other creature can swim in it. He saw one person dive in, and he assumed that this person wanted to embrace death, perhaps because of some anxiety. So he placed his followers along the bank, and they prepared to pull him out. However, the swimmer, having gone 100 yards, came out and walked nonchalantly along the bank, singing a song with water dripping off him. Confucius pursued him and said, "I thought you were a ghost, but now I see, sir, that you are a man. I wish to inquire, do you have a Dao, a way, for swimming under the water?" He said, "No, I have no Dao. I started with what I knew, matured my innate nature, and allowed destiny to do the rest. I go in with the currents and come out with the flow. Just going with the Tao of the water and never being concerned, that is how I survive. I was nurtured by the water and felt safe there. That reflects my innate nature. I'm not sure why I do this, but I'm certain that this is my destiny." So the story told by the Master Zhuang. Several points arise from this, but the main one is that this story speaks to a kind of alliance with water, which itself speaks of a natural kinship. The man tells Confucius that this is his nature, that he has no particular technique for handling torrents, and that he's certain that this is his destiny. He's identifying with water as a kindred spirit, so that he becomes one nature with it. Again on water, Xunzi quotes Confucius as answering a question about why he was watching a river flowing in the eastward direction. "Why is it that when a gentleman sees a great river, he always gazes at it?" And Confucius said, "When the waterway is large, it provides for the various living things in an all-encompassing fashion, without any ulterior motive. This resembles virtue. Its flow is towards sunken and low places, and even through curves and bends, it is sure to follow this pattern. This resembles yi, which is justice or righteousness. Its gushing torrent is never depleted or exhausted. This resembles the way. If someone opens a channel for it to go through, its response is as swift as an echo, and it rushes at a crevasse 100 fathoms deep without fear. This resembles courage. When it pours into a basin, it is sure to achieve a balanced level state. This resembles proper models, following proper models. When it fills up a place, it does not need a levelling stick. This resembles adhering to correctness. Being soft and supple, it reaches into even minute spaces, and this resembles keen discernment. And by going in and out of it, we use it to become fresh and clean. This resembles being transformed to goodness. Even through 10,000 turns, it is sure to head east. This resembles having settled intentions. For these reasons, whenever a gentleman sees a large waterway, he is sure to gaze intently at it. With these two passages, we have the essence of Confucius' view of water reconstructed. I'm treating our sources as being in the Confucian tradition. Even if the quotes are not historically founded, they are Confucian, even if not of Confucius. That is, they are in his school of thought. We recall that he made the famous exclamation, "Water, our water," and that is what our sources are explaining. Water is the world playing with biomimicry. Biomimicry is the technique used by scientists to learn from the way in which nature works to produce technology. Just as Velcro was invented by a Swiss engineer who studied the way in which the burr clung to his clothing in the Swiss mountains, so he developed a hook and a loop technology which imitated the tenacity of the burr, studying not only the way in which it stuck to clothing, but what particular forms of clothing it stuck to most. And so technology imitates nature. Somehow, someone was playing at the biomimicry game when human beings were made, in that they were made to resemble water. Water provides the model in all its moods for the various phases of human existence, and if allowed, will influence its human copies in the direction of itself. In the passage just quoted, we have a list of every quality of water which may have proved attractive to Confucius. It nourishes that which is in it. It will always seek out the lowest spots and fill them. It will always go in the same direction. It fearlessly falls into the deepest caverns. Most importantly, it has the capacity to level itself, to find its own level, like the human ability to self-rectify. The last one's very important. Water has no need of a leveling stick to brush off the unwanted pieces of grain, whatever it is. Water simply creates its own level. This is a real lesson for humans in their imitation of water. So this is not a metaphor, this is similitude. Just as Velcro is made to resemble the burr in its technology and effectiveness, someone has made humans in the image of water, or at least that is what they are, in fact. There is no need to postulate the existence of a creator god or a demiurge. The demiurge was the ancient Greek technology god who supposedly put things together in the world. And perhaps I'm being a bit misleading in talking like that. Let's just say it is what it is, and that humans and nature resemble each other. So one should expect similitudes. It is what is given. No need for a deity to pull the strings. My colleague Martin Liu in a seminar recently used the words "as if" to capture the essence of the Confucian approach to explaining funeral rites. And this passage above about water is full of as-ifs. The capacity of the water to plunge fearlessly into huge caverns is as if it has courage in human terms. The as if is a characteristic way of explaining things in Confucian philosophy. And I think it comes about because of the belief in the similitude of things. We are not water, but we are akin to water. And that is why meditating on it draws us close to harmony. The thrust of Confucian philosophy is to explain this as-ifness, or in other terms, the way in which things which are apparently disparate do resemble each other because of their shared nature. Returning to wu-wei, the stillness of doing nothing is simply being like the water. And just as the stillness of water has the ability to create stillness in the human being, and just as the stillness of a person has the ability to create stillness in others, so doing nothing is to participate in this creative emptiness. It may be that in later forms of Daoism, the philosophy of doing nothing hardened into a doctrine about government and effective rule. Certainly this seems to be the case with the Daoism, but this doctrinal hardening into a somewhat Machiavellian-style science of rule is probably not what is meant by the original insights of Confucius or some passages of the Zhuangzi. What is meant by non-contentiousness is being like the water in its stillness and without struggle. The hardening of doing nothing, or wu-wei, into a strategy loses the point of the original stillness. Stillness is simply that, and it is close to emptiness, and that is what we are called upon to achieve. The fossilization of wu-wei into strategic management considerations focuses more on its effects on the captive population, and this then becomes a strategy. But in the original understanding, wu-wei is simply a way of being. It may have its effect on others, but this is not what it is all about. The effect on others is a matter for a science of management or government, but not about a way of being as an end in itself. Wu-wei is not a strategy designed to induce spontaneity, nor is it a strategy such as we have with the approach of the psychotherapist in the West, a strategy or more a stratagem, which temporarily uses silence to precede a flood of doctrinal language. Once the agenda shifts towards the calculation of effects on other people, then there is a complete transformation of the original intention to be like. Thank you for joining me, and next time we will discuss the idea of the mandate of heaven.